Hello and welcome to Rathod's IAS. Today in this video we are going to see how to write the mains answer in UPSC. So this is very important task mainly to clear UPSC. So let us discuss how to write the mains answer effectively in the 7 minutes of time. So let us see further. So before writing the answer, every student who is appearing UPSC should remember some important points. So those important points are, first, whenever you are reading the question, you should not be panic. You should read the question properly and you should see how many sub-questions are present and you should underline the keywords. So why to underline the keywords? Whenever you are underlining any keywords in the question, then you will not forget to address that question. Okay, so this is the first important point that you should remember before you are beginning to write any answer. And if you see in the introduction, it should not be too long and it should not be too short. It should be 2 to 4 lines long. And whenever you are writing the mains answer, you should develop one thing, that is you have to underline the keywords. And if at all necessary, you can also use some capital letters in between. Okay, mainly to represent some important keywords. For example, any committee, for example, any Supreme Court judgment, if any article, so and so you can write in the capital letters. And the next important task here is to innovate your presentation. Like you can use the different tricks, like you can use the flowcharts, you can use the tree diagrams and schematics. Schematics means you can use the pictures or the small images mainly to explain that concept. And the next one is you can use some small graph by using the points like this, so and so we can see there is a growth here. So in this manner you can represent, and also you can use the map. Whenever you are writing any answer regarding the disaster management or whenever you are writing answer regarding the geography, you can use these maps. These are some important basics that you should remember before writing answers. I hope it is clear now. So let us see further. So first, how to structure the answer. So whenever you are seeing any important video which is given by any topper, how to write the answer, they will say that we will follow IBC strategy. That is introduction, body and conclusion. But no one tell what is this I, what is a B, what is a C. So let us see in this lecture how to address introduction, body and how to tackle the conclusion as well. So let us start with the introduction. So if you see this introduction, it is the first part that you should write regarding any answer. So you can write this introduction in mainly 3 ways. First one is you can start with the definition. So whenever you are reading any question, it is based on any issue, or you can say any theme is there, or anything which is asked. For example, you can say globalization, you can say Sanskritization. So you can define these words. So you can simply start with the definition. So this is the first thing and it is a very simple thing. And the second type of model regarding this introduction is you can use fact based. For example, if you are writing any economy related answer, you can say that the ranking of the India is so and so regarding the HDI, that is Human Development Index. For example, ease of doing business. So India is doing good, India is not doing good. So you can give some relevant facts. So if these two models are not working, you cannot write any definition or you cannot use any fact, then in that condition you can go for the context. So this context will definitely work. So for example, if you see the misuse of the power of the governor, you are seeing correct. So in the Rajasthan issue, there is one important editorial that appeared in the newspaper recently 1 week back regarding the role of the governor. So in that context, you cannot use any definition regarding the governor or any facts. So in that type of the question, you can use the context. Okay. So why this is in use? So in this way, you can start your introduction. So don't forget these 3 important things. The first model is based on definition. You can write simply definition. So if you don't know the exact definition, you can go with the facts. But if you do not remember that facts also, you can go through this context. So these 3 important things that works regarding the introduction. And the next part is body. So in the body you can divide into sub parts. So if you see the questions of the UPSC, they are not asking directly one question. There are 2 to 3 sub parts are present. So you need to address each and every part to gain the full marks, correct? So you have to use the subheadings, and these subheadings you can directly draw from the question itself. Don't worry about that, how to design this subheading. So you can directly take those from the question itself. And if you see, in the body we have the subparts, and how to write these subparts, there are two important things you can write here. First one, you can go through these points, and the next one is in paragraphs. So in these two methods you can write in the body of the question, and whenever you are going for the points, it is very easy and it is very simple. So whenever you are writing so and so points, if at all the points are large number, that means if there are many points, you can write 1, 2, 3 like this, correct? So if there are more than 6 to 8 points, you can write in the numbering manner, but if there are 4 to 5 points, you can go with the arrow mark. So it is a psychology, okay? So whenever you are writing with the points, there is some advantages as well. You can save the time, correct? So you can scramble the points there, and you can save the time as well, and you can think in a different dimension as well. So when you are writing in the points, you cannot repeat the same point once again, correct? So you try to address the new dimension here. So we can increase the dimensions here, and we can score more marks when we are going for the points, because examiner can directly see this. Examiner do not have to search where is this point is present, okay? So in this way you can also score better when you go for the points. And if you are going for the paragraphs, for example, if you want to address any answer, you do not have any content regarding that answer, but you have to address, but there is no choice, you have to answer that question. So in that time, whenever there is no content to fill 200 to 300 words by using the points, then you can go with these paragraphs. You do not have any option with you. So whenever you are writing the paragraphs, you have to remember some important things. So one paragraph should address only one direction, only one dimension. One paragraph should not address 2 or more dimensions, only one paragraph, one dimension, and the paragraph should be short and sweet, correct? And one important point regarding the body is, you have to get some more marks, because all the students who cleared the prelims have almost all the same knowledge levels. So to clear this means half mark or even 1 mark is very, very important. So you have to gain extra half mark or extra 1 mark from the examiner. So you can use some trick, like you can use the diagrams, or whenever you are using the subheadings, you can use the flow charts to write the answers. You can use the tree diagram like this. You can use some pie diagrams, and you can use the graphs, you can use the maps, etc. And you can use the schematics, such that you can gain extra half or 1 mark. This will be very, very important, okay? So this is about body. And let us see the conclusion. Conclusion is very, very important. We can write in the 2 ways. First one is way forward. So whenever you are addressing the questions of GS2 and GS3, you can go for this way forward. So for example, if you are writing about the analyze question, you have to write about the positives and negatives, correct? So whenever you are writing the negatives also, in the conclusion there are some loopholes. Though there are some loopholes, these are the steps that can be taken by the government to make it successful. In this way, you should write conclusion in a positive quote, in a positive manner. So in this way, whenever you are addressing some loopholes are there, these loopholes ought to be covered. So in this way, you can give the way forward whenever you are writing this GS2 and the GS3 answers. So whenever you are writing any other subjects like the GS4 or GS1, you cannot go for the way forward, because they are static syllabus. So in that, you can come up with the summing up. What you wrote in the above body, you have to sum up the important points. One thing you have to remember here is, this conclusion should not be very big like a paragraph. So it should be small, and it should contain all the solid stuff which is present in the answer. Whenever you are going for this summing up, you have to pick up the strong and also solid stuff which is present in that body, and you should sum it up. So this is about the conclusion as well. So I hope you get something regarding this. So this is the important structure that you should follow, because you have to write about 20 to 23 questions in the 3 hours of the time. That means you get about 7 minutes for each answer. So within the 7 minutes you have to write a decent answer. So you need not go for a good introduction or extraordinary conclusion. So you have to address all the questions within the time limit, correct? So this is the important thing that you should follow. This is the important structure. So to write mainly 20 to 23 decent answers. Okay. So let us see further. So if you see regarding this GS1, they contains the subjects like history, geography, and we also have the social issues. So if you see the history and the geography, they are mostly static syllabus, and if you see the social issues, it is somewhat current or dynamic, correct? So we have to work on the facts, figures, and this is mostly static syllabus. And if you are seeing about the GS2, it contains the polity, governance, and also IR. These are mostly we can see dynamic, correct? So in the polity we can see now and there the judgments of the Supreme Court will come, judgments of the High Court will come, and if you see international relations, it is mostly dynamic. So in this area current affairs is very important. So you can incorporate some of the articles of the Constitution whenever you are addressing the question regarding the polity, and you should incorporate this judgments of the Supreme Court and also the High Court, and you should write some commissions on the reports, for example ARC, for example Sarkaria Commission, Punchi Commission, so and so. And you can also write this expert's opinion when you see in the editorials. So this is about the GS2. And if you see the GS3, this is also mostly dynamic. For example, we have the economy, we have the environment and ecology, it is also most dynamic, and we also have some concept here. And the next important one is here disaster management. Whenever you are writing the answers of environment and ecology and the disaster management, try to write the maps. Try to draw the maps and also the diagrams. And if you are talking about the science and technology, you can talk about the scope of innovations. And if you are talking about the GS4, whenever you are writing the answers regarding the GS4, you have to connect the static portion with the thinkers, popular thinkers like the Mahatma Gandhi, Aristotle, etc. And you have to address the case studies as well in the GS4. So what should be the answering strategy regarding the GS4? You have to answer the case studies first, and later on you have to move to the static questions. So this is about some of the strategy regarding the mains answer writing. I want to say one more thing here. Some people have the good idea than this. Some people are already blessed with excellent way of writing, but for those people it does not work. They have to follow their own strategy. So this IBC model is important for the students who are writing, mainly for the beginners. Okay, so they have to develop this strategy such that it will be helpful in their mains answer writing. I hope it is clear now. By this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel. Please do like, share and comment my videos. Thank you.